First thing today, I was pressing out these bushings. I decided to remachine all the holes on this engine, including the engine bushing holes, because as I told you, after machining the other holes in the timing cover, I could see a slight difference. So also the holes on the crankcase are not perfectly straight. So what I will do, I will drop all this work till now, keep only the cover and this, and remachine everything. But before, as you could see in the last episode, all these oil pump fixing holes and the oil pressure hole are made wrong, so I will just weld everything together. I will make the holes that I want to cover bigger, weld them together, grind them softly, then maybe replan this cover, this surface, this surface. These holes will be oval or gone anyway. We don't find this cover available anywhere to be ordered for this type of oil pump and this type of engine, and I'm more than sure nothing will fit a homemade crankcase. So the best thing would be to align everything with the crankcase again and make it work. There is no other chance, just going forward. I have welded successfully the cover. Now I will go down, fine grind the edges of all this, also on the back a little bit, and after that I want to replan these surfaces by hand. I was showing you how an episode before, but now I will film it again. Also, the pump was not matching correctly the look of this cover, so I was also welding over here so I can make it fit better. So the planning went quite good. I still didn't do it completely, because on manual planning you never know how parallel you go with the surfaces. I just wanted to clean them straight so it can be fixed on a machine without bouncing. So actually this was the preparation for the planning on a machine. Now they are planned, but I'm sure they are not parallel. Probably 0.1 millimeters there will be, or two differences. So I will take it to a planing shop where they also make cylinder heads to have it perfectly planned, and then I will continue with remachining the cover. Now that everything is planned and nice, oops, I am aligning these two holes by eye. So when aligning these two holes, this gap was even bigger before, so I still have to weld 4 or 5 millimeters in height to match this cover nicely to the pump. So I will go and weld a little bit more, just fine grind it and take it to the machinery to be planned again. I was adding this extra here. It's 4 or 5 millimeters. Looks like more than enough to match nice the pump after I finish the technical. This is just by eye, but it's more than enough. So I will grind this out after this part is technically correct and fitted. So now it's machine planning time. I will not film that because I will leave it at the workshop to be done. The cases are back from the machine shop. I was making these new holes over here, the oil hole and the cam bushing holes for the third time. But this time I was also machining the cases here. So I never used a milling machine before, but yesterday my machinist was very stressed and I could see he's not focusing very good, and I asked him if it will bother him to let me work on his machine, and he said yes. I was ready for this since a long time, so I took the opportunity and made these first holes. I don't know how it always happens, but when it's the most difficult job, I decide to learn how to machine on that job. So I machined them myself on somebody else's machines. I wanna see how this will work now. I will start making the bushings, the new ones. It's a different dimension now, but when I was machining, I could also not film very good the machinery part, as I was very focused on what I was doing, but I will film now the rest of the bushing making on the mini lathe. Crankcase, these were the old ones, these are the new ones with a bigger dimension, as I was regrinding the crankcase. What I want to do next is mount a flywheel and check these measurements and place on the gears between the flywheel and the cams. I never mounted the flywheel gear because it's getting in pressed and I don't like to press and depress too many times things, but this has to be checked now, so I know I can go on and finish up the timing cover bushings. Yes, my biggest concern was that it might be that this hole, the crankshaft hole with the cam hole, they are not in the right position, because I never checked that. I didn't want to press this gear in, but I was lucky this time, so everything fits good now. So the next step would be to adapt this original cam case bushing on our bigger hole and make from ground up this other bushing for the other side. I was drawing now the new cam cover bushing that I will make from ground up. This one I will use the original steel and just make a bushing so it's getting pressed in good. So let's go to the lathe and start working on this bushing. Cam cover bushings are now finished. I made the oil lines also. This is the second one. I made this sleeve here. I was out of battery, so I didn't film the machinery part of that. Now I will put them in the freezer, these two, and the cam cover is already in the oven. The bushings are now pressed in nicely. It looks like they are parallel. They should be parallel. What am I doing wrong? So it's all going in very good until here. But this is just because I still have to machine this place where the pinion gear stays. So I will do that tomorrow on a milling machine. Today I have back this machine cover. I was machining this place here so the gear can fit in. The next thing I want to do is check the side play on every axle over here, because the cover is still not seating perfectly. So I guess the bushings for the cams or one of these axles are too wide, so it's not getting on the surface perfectly. And what I also want to check is the distance from this planning here to the bushing place. That's why I also took out the standard 741 case, so I can measure all this. Measurements, I have following conclusions. So my cam space is narrower on the front cam with 1.5 millimeter and 1.2 millimeter on the rear one. But I also measured the thickness of the covers. So the one I had to weld and to grind after, it was getting narrower with 1.4 millimeters. The OM gasket has 0.6 millimeters, so I have an exact 2 millimeter gasket material that I hope to use and make a thicker gasket than normal. This way I will have the oil pump surface in the same place as the original, and I will also have good clearance for the cams. I was not filming the entire process. This is the 2 millimeter thick gasket. First I used these machines. I also succeeded to break one. Then I used the nibbler for metal cutting. It has a nibbler in the end there. And then the fine Dremel for the last grindings, and then sandpaper by hand to get to this. It's still not finished, but only when I will mount the cover and grind also the cover for matching the crankcase, I will match also the gasket on the outside. It looks like this cover is finally done now. So the next thing will be adapting the oil pump, making the new oil pump fitting holes. So I will have to mount the oil pump and make the new holes and drill the new threads. Also cut this other axle to fit the new alloy pump. So this will be in the next episode. Thank you for watching. I'm happy that this timing cover is finally fitting. The bushings are fitting, it is turning quite nicely. So